There was a young boy in Mecca. He grew up in the life of luxury. He was a celebrity of Mecca. He was one of the most handsome men of Mecca. He came from a prestigious family. His name was Mus'ab ibn Umair radiallahu anhu. When Mus'ab ibn Umair got word that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was preaching a new message and he was this, that, and the third, Mus'ab ibn Umair also remembered that this was the same man whom is referred to as Al-Amin, honest, righteous, upright people in Mecca. So when these words came to him, he didn't jump on the bandwagon and say, yes, I agree with all this. No, he said, I'm not going to judge without having spoken to him myself. And this was at a time when the Prophet ﷺ had no outward mission. He was in hiding, they were in secret. He was meeting his very few companions and believers in a house known as Dar al-Arqam. So Mus'ab found out that this is where the Prophet ﷺ was teaching. So he went one night and he knocked on the door. And someone said, O Messenger of Allah ﷺ, it's Mus'ab ibn Umair. And the Prophet was happy, he was pleased. He said, yes, let him in. He always understood the value of every human being and what role they could have to play in society. When Mus'ab ibn Umair came in, he gave him the simple da'wah of Islam. Upon hearing it, Mus'ab ibn Umair radiallahu anh said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So he told him to keep it secret, and Mus'ab kept it a secret. And he kept coming and meeting the Prophet ﷺ at the house of Arqam. But in the city of Mecca there were spies. These spies saw Mus'ab ibn Umair going to the house of Arqam and then praying with the Prophet ﷺ. They realized he's a Muslim. So they went to Mus'ab's mother and they told him, do you know that your own son has submitted and become a Muslim? She was shocked, she couldn't believe it. So she confronted him. And he said, yes, I've become a Muslim. She chained him in his house and put people to watch over him. She could have chained Mus'ab in a basement of a dungeon and it wouldn't have changed anything, because whomsoever Allah guides cannot be misguided. So he remained like this for a while. And then the Prophet came out on his mission publicly. People turned on him, things got very hard. So the Prophet ﷺ gave some of the weakest Muslims permission to migrate to Habasha. When Mus'ab ibn Umair heard that there were Muslims who were immigrating, he tricked his mother to let him go. And he went with the Muslims into Habasha. And then some time passed. Word came to the Muslims of Abyssinia that Islam had taken over in Mecca. The people accepted Islam. So a group of Muslims came back. One of them who came back with them was Mus'ab ibn Umair. When they got back, they realized not only had the situation not gotten better, it actually had gotten worse. No matter how bad things might seem, Allah Azza wa Jal always has a plan for this ummah. Because even during this toughest time, there were people who were coming from a city known as Yathrib. They had been in war for a long time. They had heard about this man Muhammad ﷺ, who was bringing peace between people and was preaching this new religion of worshipping one Allah alone. So they met with him on two separate occasions. Very few of them first, and then a larger group of them second. And they accepted Islam, pledged their support to the Prophet ﷺ, and they asked him to come with them to Yathrib. But he said, I cannot, because Allah has not given me the permission to do so. So they requested, send someone with us that can teach us Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ chose someone to send. Now, who was a Muslim at this time? Abu Bakr was a Muslim at this time. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf was a Muslim. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anh was a Muslim. Some of the senior companions in knowledge were Muslim at this time. But he chose Mus'ab ibn Umair, this young boy, still in his teenage years.